What's good, YouTube? It's Adam from I'm a Music Mogul, and welcome to another remake video. Today we're gonna go ahead and remake Heatin Up by Lil Baby featuring Gunna. So let's get straight to it. First things first, let's go ahead and change our tempo to 130 beats per minute. And we're gonna start off with our main string sound. There are three of them, but we're gonna start off with the main one right here. For that sound, we're gonna go ahead and open up our browser tool. We're gonna go to Legacy. We're going to go to the Jam Pack Symphony Orchestra, whatever continuation that is. Definitely that Jam Pack right over there. And then we're going to go over to Strings. And we're going to go to the, all the way down here to the Extra Violin Section 2 Staccato. So this one right over here. And let's use that preset. And we are going to go ahead and draw in that pattern. So it's going to go something like this. I'm going to change this to a pencil tool. And this is just going to go ahead and repeat itself. And the only thing that we're going to add here is we're just going to bring in Logic Space Designer. And we're just going to add in a little bit of reverb just to fill out the sound a bit more. Okay, that sounds a little long, but I think this was cut up like that. And then the second set of strings come in right after that. So let's go ahead and create a new software instrument track. Actually, you know what? Let's just duplicate this track because we're going to open up our browser tool once again. And this time we're going to go ahead and switch up the preset. The strings in the original track had sort of like this movement to it. And there is actually a preset built off of the exact same one right here, the Extra Violin Section 2 Staccato. Except we are going to go ahead and select the Section 2 Tremolo, which will give us that like wobbly, wavy type of sound. So we can go ahead actually and arrange as we go. So let's go ahead and draw in this pattern over here. It's going to sound something like this. Let's go ahead and draw that in. All right, let's go ahead and just duplicate that over. We get this. And for this one, all we're going to do is I'm just going to cut out a little bit of lows. Let's turn on this channel EQ here. That's going to brighten it up a little bit. We'll leave it at that. But we're just going to go ahead and cut out some of those lows to leave room for our 808 because it sounds a little bit cloudy over there. All right, so that just takes that out a little bit. So it goes from this. Volume match that. All right, so that sounds good like that. Next, what happens here is if we arrange as we go, we're just going to duplicate this twice over. And we're going to bring in a third set of strings. And you guessed it, we're going to use the same family of strings. So they all sound like one. except we're not going to use the tremolo one. We're going to use the pizzicato one. So the section 2 pizzi or pizzicato. And on this one, we're just going to go ahead and solo that out. And let's go ahead and just draw this in here. Yeah, I'll start on a lower octave. Alright, so it's going to go one here. Alright, and that's just going to go ahead and repeat itself. And on this sound over here, we're just going to bring in that EQ. And once again, we're going to cut out some of the lows. Not too much. Just cleans it up ever so slightly there. And then we're going to go ahead and bring in a little bit of reverb as well. Logic Space Designer. Fill that out. And this sort of spreads out over those 4 bars. And then we're going to go ahead into our verse where the drums come into place and everything comes together. So let's go ahead and just copy over this first set of strings. We're going to create a new softer instrument track. And let's go ahead and draw in our first set of drums. We'll put in our clap. But first, let's bring in that Heatin Up drum kit, make it nice and loud. And let's go ahead and draw in our clap. Start off with that. Just go ahead and draw those in on the 3s. Oh, that ain't 3. But what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to actually duplicate this over 4 bars. And let's push this over 4 bars. For this sound, I'm going to make it a little bit brighter. I'm going to bring in some distortion on it. I'm going to go to distortion stereo. I'm only going to drive it up about 1 decibel and or 1 dB, and it'll pull up the tone all the way. Makes it a little bit brighter. Bring it down a bit. And then I'm going to bring in some reverb on this, so Logic Space Designer. Fill it out a bit. Alright, next let's go ahead and duplicate this track, except I'm going to remove both of these effects. And I guess we can get into the 808 because there's not too many percussion elements here. So let's draw in those 808s. But before we do, I'm just going to open up our sampler here and just make sure mono is set so that the 808s don't overlap each other when we're drawing them in. So we're just going to start off here. Right over here, there's like a stutter effect. So I'm just going to go ahead over to my brush tool. And I believe it was 32 triplets. So let's go ahead and just draw that in. And it's going to drop a little bit here. All right, so let's go ahead and select all that and just duplicate that over the 4 bars. It just repeats itself. Alright, so what we're going to do here, we're just going to open up an EQ. We're going to mold this sound a little bit. I'm going to cut out a little bit of low in here, just clean it up a bit. Anything under the 30 hertz there, so just all those subtones, just take them all out. Clean it up. I'm going to bring in a bit crusher here. We're going to go to distortion, bit crusher. We're just going to make this a little bit fatter. I'm going to turn the resolution up to 12 bits. Get rid of those artifacts. Pull up the drive a bit. And it's a little bit too much. I'll pull it down a bit. Just want it really nice and big sounding. and duplicate this track. And we're going to take off these effects over here, and we're going to put in our hi-hats. And it's going to go something like this. I'm going to change over our brush tool. First off, we're going to start off with 8th note hits. Let's just repeat that. Start off that as a foundation. So there's some stutters and rolls that happens throughout the loop or pattern. So we're just going to go start off with the first one here. So it happens right over here. And I think it was like a 64th triplet. Let's see. Just gonna zoom on in here. And we're going to go up here. Let's go something like that. I might just change that actually to a 64th, not a triplet. Let's go to 64. And I'm just going to push this one out. Let's rebrush that in there. All right, I think that sounds a little bit better. Let's move on. Put in another 64th hit over here. Another one over here as well. And actually that's just going to repeat itself. So I'm going to cut that out and I'm just going to duplicate this over. So on this sound here, we're just going to make it a little bit brighter. We're just going to turn this to a high pass filter. I'm going to make sure that this is turned on. Makes it a little brighter there. I'm going to pull up the drive a little bit as well, just saturate it a bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring in a delay, sample delay, stereo, and we're just going to delay one side so that we get it nice and wide. Not too much. All right, so this goes for another set of 4 bars, and then it's going to switch back into these strings over here for 4 bars. So we're just going to duplicate that over, and I did not place it in the right spot. Now we can push it over 4 times, and so we get a little bit of break happening here in the drums. Boom, and then the drums come back in here. But right over here, another drum element comes into play. So let's just duplicate our clap over here, take out those 2 effects, and we're just going to put in like an open hat here, kind of acts like a crash a bit or a ride. I'm just going to go ahead and draw that in. Where was it here? Change back to a pencil tool, put in an 8th note value. There it is right there. So let's just go in the ones. Ooh. Let me take that out. It's going to go like this. And on this sound, we're just going to bring in a reverb just to make it nice and full as well. And we're going to copy this over here once again. And then we're going to copy over this string section once again as well. And then everything is going to cut out over here. The 808, take this out, take that out. The 808 kind of rings out here. Actually, I don't know if it's this strings. I think it was this strings here. So I'm going to copy that down here. Oh, not down there, up here. And then it's going to go back into these sets of strings here. Copy that over. And we're going to copy over our drums here. Copy that over here. We don't need this open hat / ride happening here. Actually, this gets pushed over here. I'm going to bring in these pizzicato strings back into play over here. And pull that out, pull this back. Our 808 is going to come into here, but I'm just going to cut it in half over here. Put that back here. And then we're just going to go into this and just round out the remake right over there, as this pretty much just loops itself for the rest of the record. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Listen to the remake we just put together, Lil Baby's Heatin Up featuring Gunna. Let's go. So that's it. That's the remake right over there. Lil Baby's Heatin Up featuring Gunna. For your Logic users out there, I'm going to go ahead and save this entire session for you guys. Place it as a downloadable link in the description box below this video. For your non-Logic users out there, got your back as well. I'm going to go ahead and export all the MIDI stems, audio stems, and of course include the drum kit that you heard in this tutorial. You can find that download play pack below the like button as well. If you do have any questions on this or just want to chat, let's go ahead and talk in the comment section below. But as usual, guys, if you did like this video, remember, thumbs up, share it. We're getting close to 300,000 subscribers, so thank you very much. Let's get there. Once we hit 300K, there'll be a giveaway. We'll be giving away a couple Complete Control M32 keyboard controllers. So let's hit that 300K and get that contest started. Thank you so much, guys, for the continued support. Hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you on the next one. Later. Peace.